Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is our third episode. I'm Deanna Barton with Edina Realty.
Hi there, this is Tim Hanschen with Edina Realty as well.
Today, we like to talk a little bit about the buying process and maybe talking a little bit about first-time home buyers because they are so near and dear to our heart. But before we get started, I noticed something on your cup here today, Tim. Coolest grandpa ever. Well, I just wanted to mention that you recently, you are a grandpa, and you're up to 10 grandchildren as of this within this month. So that's pretty cool.
Keeps me busy at Christmas time and
Yeah.
year round. But it's so cool to have grandkids, and you have a few grandkids yourself.
I am in a similar boat. I have 10 grandkids, and my 10th one was just born earlier this month too. So what a blessing, and I just can't tell you how much fun it is being a grandma. I love it.
It's so fun. Yeah.
We'll have to sell houses to our grandkids, help them find their dream homes, right?
Absolutely.
Not yet, though.
Absolutely.
We got a little bit of
today
time.
we have a different today we have a different audience we're going to address.
That's right. So talking about first-time home buyers, buyers in general, some of the things that are available, some of the misnomers as far as that goes. Now, I know we've touched on it briefly in previous conversations, that sometimes people might think they need a huge amount of money to put down on a home in order to buy their first home, or any home for that matter.
They do, and I've talked to young folks, young to me that is, they could be in their 30s, but who've thought that they needed like 20 or 25% down, and they don't have that, and so they simply continue to rent. And we'll talk a little bit about renting versus owning a little later in this episode as well. But the fact of the matter is there are conventional loans that are 3% down. FHA is 3.5%. And there are some special funding, where you can get no money down. So there are options for those that don't have large bank accounts.
Well, I know I had a client who was able to participate in the MFHA program, and that's the program where you have to qualify, obviously. It's not for everybody. There are certain criteria that need to be met. But it gives the buyer money to put down on a home at no cost to them. There's a payback when they sell, but they get the money up front, which allows them to get into their first home. And it's an awesome program.
Right, and there's a lot of rules, and I'm not pretending to be an expert on it, but I know we do have a mortgage officer in our office, a loan officer that can help steer people to what's the right product for them. We individualize, and part of our aim here in these conversations is to educate and communicate with our clients.
For sure. Absolutely. So, so that program is one option that allows first-time home buyers to get into their home without having that money down. Obviously, there's requirements, as I mentioned. Getting your credit in order is probably one of the main requirements. People want to make sure that they're in good standing with debt, etc.
Right.
Loan officers can help with that. They can give you some very specific action steps that people can take in order to get them in that position where they will be able to qualify for the programs or just qualify straight out in order to buy a home.
Yeah, and then another thing that first-time home buyers and all buyers have to consider is there's closing costs. When you borrow money on a home, there are closing costs, and the closing costs can be 3 or 4% of the price of the home. And we can negotiate sellers sometimes to pay those closing costs. So again, people that don't have vast sums of cash in their bank account can still become homeowners.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there is a way. There is a way, and so this is a call to everybody to let you know that maybe you can buy a home. There is, there's some people that rent, and then we can talk about that a little bit, renting versus buying. There are some people where renting is the right fit. But in Minnesota, it's very possible that you can own a home for less than you're renting for. And when you own the home, your payment stays relatively the same. There's no control over taxes or insurance increases or decreases. But generally, you can have a locked-in payment because you got to live somewhere. And as far as renting goes, some people that are going to move right away in a year, sometimes that's not a good fit for them.
Well, there's a lot of expenses involved with moving and purchasing a home. So you're right. If you're going to be moving out of the area, or have different plans in a year where you're not going to be staying where you're at, it might not be the best choice to go and buy a home. It can get expensive, as you mentioned, closing costs and just the moving expenses in general. So that's true. There are times that renting might be better, but for the most part, boy, having that relatively fixed payment in your budget, knowing what it's going to cost you year in and year out to live in your home, as you're paying down your debt and building more and more equity in your home, I mean, it's a great option. It's a great way to get started and make the potential for moving into a bigger and better home.
Correct. Yep. And people want to have their own yard, and then you have much more say over your own property when it's your yard. There's no association or rules, of course, subject to city statutes. We don't want to say you can do anything in a yard, but it's a good fit for some people. And the whole point of this conversation here is to let people know, check it out. Maybe you can qualify for a home. Maybe you do have the means to purchase your first home or a home, and you don't even know about it. We run into people all the time that say, I'm so sick of living in this apartment. The person with cement blocks lives upstairs on their feet. And you hear a lot of things. And say, renting is a good fit for some, but for some, they can't stand it and they feel trapped. So this is a call to them. Let's talk and see if maybe you can qualify to buy a home if you're one of those people that does not enjoy renting, and see what it's going to cost you.
Yeah, it's free. It can't hurt. It's education. It's information. We're here to help them.
Yeah, and how are the interest rates doing right now? Are they still staying under 4%?
Oh, absolutely. They're looking good. Historical lows, as we've mentioned before.
It's been going on for a few years now. It's been a very good time to buy. Sometimes it's hard to find starter homes in this market. That's why you need a professional real estate agent like us to help negotiate into a new home. And it can be done. And it's just, the best thing is when they finally get in there and the race is done and we're at the closing table and they're signing and they get their home that they've been, some people thought they could never get.
Well, and you made me just think of another really important item that people might not be aware of, is that when you're buying a home, there's no cost to you as far as a realtor fee or anything like that. There's no fees for buying a home.
Yeah, there is a slight little broker admin fee, but there's no fees up front.
Right.
The help we give you to closing, and then at closing there's closing costs and there's a myriad of things, but we like to negotiate for those who need it to have the seller pay for some of those closing costs to make it as seamless as possible. Everybody has different needs, but the point of this conversation today for the buyer's market is reach out, talk to us. Let's see if you can own a home. And sometimes we've worked with people, and I've worked with people personally where it's been a couple years. They had something on their credit report, or they had a debt that was bad or something, and then the loan officer worked with them to get their credit cleared up, and we just stayed in touch. We continued them on a MLS search where they could see the houses were on the market, so they knew what was out there. And then the day comes when they can qualify, and then they're all educated on what's going on in the market. So we're in it for the long haul with people. Yeah.
And you bring up a really good point. Working with a loan mortgage officer, they can help you with specific action items you can take to improve your credit, to get where you need to be in order to qualify.
That's right.
And they can help you with time frames too.
Correct. And we'll educate people about the market, what a house is costing in whatever area they want to live in, the average price, have them make their dream sheet, and then of course the most important thing, the things you need to have and the things you don't want in a house, so that we can make sure the houses that we finally start looking at are candidates for you. Nobody likes to look at houses and walk in and walk out. I've had several of those where we walk in and turn around and walk out because we find out it has no garage. Well, we can find that out in advance.
Absolutely.
educate, communicate. Communication is so critical between us and our buyers, and it's just such an honor to help them. It's a dream still for a lot of people. You know, they used to call it the Great American Dream, owning a home, and there's quite a large percentage of people that still do own homes. And if you want to be one of them, let us help you.
Yeah. Yep, we are here to help.
So,
For sure.
like, share, follow. This is Tim Hanschen with Edina Realty. Thank you so much, and have a great day, everybody.
Yep. Thank you. It's been nice talking to you. We will talk to you again soon with more items to help you reach your real estate goals.